Hello, you guys. Here's your guys' polynomials quiz review, okay? So for the first four, these all have to do with classifying polynomials. So for number one, so first notice there's a minus sign in between these two polynomials. So with this minus sign, you guys have to distribute this to all the ones on the right-hand side. So drop the parentheses, and then you distribute that minus sign to each. So negative times a negative sign times positive 10 is negative 10x to the fifth. A negative sign times negative 7 is a positive 7x to the third. Negative times negative 2, positive 2x. Negative times 5, minus 5. Now we can all combine like terms. So if you guys can see, this 10x to the fifth cancels with that 10x to the fifth because 10 minus 10 is 0. Negative 7x to the third plus 7x to the third, 0. Negative 2x plus 2x, 0. So all you have remaining is negative 5, and that's it. What's the degree of negative 5? It is a degree of 0 because there's no variables. So degree of 0, you guys, is what we call a constant. And there's only one term, which is what we call a monomial. So if you guys did not know about your classifying for degree, it goes 1, 2, 3, and then 4 or higher. We call this a when we're talking about degrees and classifying, you guys, we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 more. If it's 0, this is what we call a constant. If the highest degree is 1, that's what we call a linear. If the degree is 2, you guys, that's what we call a quadratic. And if it's degree 3, you guys, that's what we call a cubic. And 4 or more, in terms of the highest degree, you guys, that's what we call polynomials. Okay? Now, when we classify it by term, 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more. 4 or more, you guys, we call that, oh, sorry, my apologies. You just call it by 4th degree. And then if it went higher, 5th degree. In terms of if it's 4 or more terms, that's what we call polynomial. Sorry. Okay, if there's one term, you guys call that monomial. If there's 2 terms, you guys call that binomial. And if you guys have 3 terms, that's what you call trinomial. Okay, so there's all that information. Now let's just move forward. Number 2. Since there's addition, that means we just drop all of these polynomials down, and then we combine like terms. The 3x and the minus 3x, those cancel. This 10x and that 6x to the third, you guys, those can combine, and that negative 10 and that 9 can combine. 10 plus 6, 16x to the third, negative 10 plus 9, negative 1. Highest degree, it's 3, so that's cubic. How many terms? There's 2, so that's binomial. Cubic, binomial. Okay? Number 3. Parenthesis and a parenthesis. So that means you guys gotta multiply this. So do your double distribution. Negative 3 times negative 3x squared times 2x, negative 6x to the third. Negative 3x squared times negative 1, positive 3x squared. 4 times 2x, 8x. 4 times negative 1, negative 4. You can't combine anything, so that's all we can do. Highest degree, it's 3, so that's cubic. How many terms are there? There's 4 terms, so there's nothing we can do but call it a polynomial. Cubic polynomial. Number 4, distribute, because it's parenthesis and parenthesis. 10x to the third times 2x squared is 20x to the fifth. 10x to the third times negative 4, negative 40x to the third. 3 times 2x squared, 6x squared. 3 times negative 4, negative 12. Can't combine anything, so we have a fifth degree. How many terms? 4 terms, polynomial. Okay, so that's how you guys do the first 4. Okay, number 5. Gotta divide this using long division. So the 12x to the third, so 30x squared minus 16x minus 20. All that's in the house, and we're dividing it all by 6x minus 5. Okay, so this is how you guys set it up. What times 6x gives us 12x to the third? That would be 2x squared. 2x squared times 6x, you guys, is 12x to the third. Now, let's go ahead and distribute this to both. 2x squared times 6x, 12x to the third. 2x squared times negative 5, you guys, negative 10x squared. Now, we're going to subtract both of those terms, both of these terms from the top. 12 minus 12, that's 0. Okay, be careful with this, right, you guys? 38 minus negative 10. Minus negative 10, you guys, is positive 10. So we really have 38 plus 10, you guys, which is 40, positive 48x squared. Drop down the negative 16x, and now repeat the process all over again. What times 6x is 48x squared? That would be 8x. And then with this 8x, you guys, you distribute this to the front 2 again. 8x times 6x is 48, 8x to the second. 8x times negative 5, negative 40x. And now we're going to subtract by putting parentheses on both of them. 48 minus 48, 0. Negative 16 minus negative 40. Minus negative 40, guys, is positive 40. So negative 16 plus 40, positive 24x. Drop down the negative 20. How many times does 6x go into 24x? That would be 4. So then you guys take the 4 and distribute it to the front 2 again. 4 times 6x is 24x. 4 times negative 5, negative 20. Subtract that, and you guys get 0. You guys get 0. So your final quotient answer, you guys, is 2x squared plus 8x plus 4. And if you guys did so happen to get like a remainder of negative 20, hypothetically, then your guys' answer would be negative 20 all over the divisor, which would be 6x minus 5. That's if you guys have a remainder, okay? All right, there's that one done. Now we're off to graphing. So this is all in factored form, you guys. That's all factored form. So since that's all in factored form, you guys have to figure out what all the zeros are for each factor. Okay, for this factor right there, what value of x would make that 0? And the correct answer is x would have to equals to 0. And that's true because, right, you guys, 0 to the second power is 0. And what's 0 times negative 3? 0. So if we plug in 0 into there, that whole thing will become 0, which is a good thing. This one, what value of x would make this whole factor 0 if this was negative 2? Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So x gotta be equals to negative 2. This one, x gotta equal to negative 4. And this one, x gotta equals to 6. Now we gotta deal with multiplicities. So all of these, you guys, have a multiplicity, meaning how many zeros are located at this specific location. You guys gotta look at the degree. Degree of that is 2, so multiplicity of 2. Degree of that is 2, multiplicity of 2. Degree of that factor is 3, multiplicity of 3. Degree of that is 5, multiplicity of 5. Now, if it's an even multiplicity, you guys, this is where bounces occur. That's where you guys have to bounce. If there's odd multiplicities besides 1, those are all slides. Okay? Now, find the degree. Well, for factored form, you guys, in order to find the degree, you gotta add all the exponents of each factor together. 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5 is 12. Now your guys' leading coefficient is -3 times all of these leading coefficients, which is 1 times 1 times 1, which is -3. So in behavior, your leading coefficient is negative, and your guys' degree is even. Negative even is down, down. And your y-intercept, 0, 0. So we have everything you guys need in order to graph this. So in behavior, down, down. And let's plot our zeros. X equals 0, x equals -2, x equals -4, and x is equals to 6. Okay, so as we start from the left-hand side, you guys, we are approaching -4. Everyone, there's -4, and -4 was a slide. So when you go up to -4, you guys, go up to it, slide, and then keep on going up. You just go through. So slide at the 0, and then go to the other side of the x-axis. Okay, it does not matter how tall or short this is, so curve it down so that we can approach the next 0. The next 0 we're approaching, you guys, is -2. At -2, there was a bounce. So you guys go up to it, you bounce off of it, and we're still on the same side of the x-axis that we initially were. Okay, now let's curve this back down so that we are approaching the next 0. And the next 0 we're approaching, you guys, is x equals 0, which is a bounce. So we're going to bounce off the 0, so bounce off of it, and we're still on the same side of the x-axis. Okay, and then let's just curve it so that we can reach the next 0. Okay, the next 0 we're approaching, you guys, is 6. So you guys, at x equals 6, that is a slide. So we go up to 6, you guys. We're going to slide at 6, so a nice horizontal line, and then just drop it down. And that should your graph look like to some degree, just like that. Okay. Number 7. Now, this is in standard form, everybody. That's in standard form. And if we have it in standard form, you guys, we can clearly see which term has the highest degree. It's that one. So our degree is 7, our leading coefficient is -16, our leading coefficient is negative, and our degree is odd or even. It is odd. So negative odd, you guys, goes up and then down. And we have a y-intercept at 0, 0. Okay, so again, you guys can find all that information from standard form or factored form. But if it's in factored form, you guys have to add up all the degrees to get the degree and look at the coefficients of each one and multiply all those leading coefficients to each other. Now we have this. You cannot find your zeros and multiplicities unless you factor that. You need to factor that, you guys. So you can factor out a -16 from each, meaning you can divide each by -16, and you can take 5 x's out from all of them. So -16, I'll do it right here. If you guys divide all these by -16 x to the 5th, what do you get left? Well, we're going to get a positive x to the 2nd, because a negative divided by negative is a positive. 16 divided by -16, that's going to be -x. 32 divided by -16, guys, that's -2. Okay, and then look right here, you guys. That's a trinomial, and isn't your a value equals to 1? So this is a perfect time to do your guys' x method, -2 and 1. And because a is equals to 1, you guys just use the two side numbers. -16 x to the 5th times x minus 2, x plus 1. Okay, now we can find our zeros. What value of x will make that factor 0 if x was equals to 0? 0 to the 5th power, you guys, is 0. 0 times negative 16, 0. What value of x would make that become 0 if x was equals to 2? 2 minus 2, you guys, 0. What value of x would make that 0? Negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1, you guys, 0. And those are both degrees of 1. Okay, so multiplicity of 5 based off that degree. Multiplicity of 1 based off that degree. Multiplicity of 1 based off of that degree. So if we have a multiplicity of 5, you guys, that's where we have a slide. And for multiplicity of 1s, cross, cross. So we have everything we need, you guys, in order to graph. So up, down, zeros at x equals 0, at x equals negative 1, and at x is equals to 2. So I actually could shrink these down a bit more. Okay, now when we come up to the first 0, it's at x equals negative 1. That is where you guys cross. So you guys are going to cross at that 0. Now, we're coming up on the next 0, you guys, which was at x equals 0. That's where you guys do a slide. So curve it, go up to it, slide, and then go through. Okay, and then curve it back down so that we can approach the next 0. And at x equals 2, you guys, that is a cross. So we're going to cross it right there. And there we go. Okay. So again, make sure you guys know your guys' end behaviors and all that stuff and study up on this, okay? Good luck, everyone. Peace.